I'm sorry there's police here, but we discovered a dead baby in the bathroom.
Oh my gosh. I'm sorry. I came out and I didn't know what to do.
Lexi, I told you about this.
But
I just asked you, baby, to tell me the truth.
scared. It was not crying or nothing.
Alexee Trevizo's story gripped the nation not just because of the tragic outcome, but also due to the many unanswered questions surrounding the case. A 19-year-old high school cheerleader with a seemingly bright future, Trevizo now faces the grim reality of being charged with first-degree murder after her newborn was found in a hospital trash can. The case has prompted a widespread discussion about the pressures of teenage pregnancy, the role of medical professionals, and the legal ramifications of Trevizo's actions. Vinnie Politan, a well-known legal analyst, took on the task of investigating the case in depth, seeking to understand why Trevizo might have hidden her pregnancy and what led to such a devastating outcome. The initial shock of the case stems from the fact that Trevizo claimed she did not know she was pregnant until she gave birth. This statement alone raised many eyebrows. How could a young woman carry a pregnancy to term without realizing it? Medical experts point out that cryptic pregnancies, where the mother is unaware of the pregnancy until labor, are rare but possible. Trevizo's lawyer, Gary Mitchell, strongly argues that this was exactly the case for his client. He explains that Trevizo did not experience significant weight gain, morning sickness, or other common signs of pregnancy, which would explain her ignorance of the situation. However, the prosecution is not convinced. They believe there is more to the story than what Trevizo and her defense are claiming. One of the most troubling aspects of the case is what happened immediately after Trevizo gave birth in the hospital bathroom. According to reports, she placed the newborn in a trash can, an action that has horrified many. Trevizo's lawyer insists that his client was in a state of panic and confusion, which led her to make such a drastic decision. He points out that Trevizo attempted to care for the baby after the birth, suggesting that she did not intend to harm the child. However, the prosecution paints a much darker picture. They argue that Trevizo's actions were deliberate and that she had been trying to conceal her pregnancy for months. The toxicology report on the newborn adds another complexity to the case. It revealed that the infant had morphine and other drugs in its system, which were administered to Trevizo during her time in the hospital. This raises several questions about the role of the medical staff. Should they have done more once they realized Trevizo was pregnant? The defense argues that the drugs administered to Trevizo may have contributed to the newborn's death and that the hospital bears some responsibility for the outcome. The prosecution, on the other hand, sees this as a deflection from the real issue, whether Trevizo was aware of her pregnancy and whether her actions were premeditated. Further complicating the case is evidence that suggests Trevizo may have known about her pregnancy despite her claims of ignorance. Reports indicate that Trevizo had stopped taking birth control pills and had begun using diet pills, which could indicate that she was aware of her condition. This, combined with the fact that she managed to hide her pregnancy from her family and friends, raises serious doubts about the defense's argument that she was completely unaware of her situation. If Trevizo did indeed know she was pregnant, it could suggest that her actions were more calculated than her defense team would like the court to believe. Vinnie Politan's investigation into the case also delves into the psychological and social pressures that may have influenced Trevizo's decisions. Teenage pregnancy carries a significant stigma, particularly in conservative communities. As a high school cheerleader with a promising future, Trevizo may have felt immense pressure to maintain her image. The fear of judgment from her peers, family, and community would have driven her to desperate measures. Politan's investigation suggests that Trevizo's fear of this judgment may have been a key factor in her decision to hide the pregnancy and ultimately in the tragic outcome of the situation. The role of the hospital staff in this case has also come under scrutiny. The fact that Trevizo was able to give birth in a hospital bathroom without immediate intervention raises serious concerns. According to the timeline of events, the hospital staff were aware that Trevizo was pregnant shortly before she gave birth, yet they continued to administer drugs that could have harmed the newborn. The defense argues that the hospital's actions were negligent and that they should bear some responsibility for the infant's death. The prosecution, however, contends that the hospital staff acted appropriately given the information they had at the time and that the responsibility for the infant's death lies solely with Trevizo. As the legal proceedings continue, the court must consider these factors when determining Trevizo's guilt or innocence. The defense will likely continue to argue that Trevizo's actions resulted from panic and confusion. At the same time, the prosecution will seek to prove that her actions were premeditated and deliberate. The outcome of the trial will have significant implications, not just for Trevizo, but for the broader conversation about teenage pregnancy and the criminal justice system's handling of such cases. The case of Alexee Trevizo also brings to light the broader issue of how society deals with teenage pregnancy. The stigma and shame associated with it can drive young women to make dangerous and tragic decisions. Trevizo's case is a stark reminder of the need for better education and support systems for young women in difficult situations. It also raises questions about the role of medical professionals in such cases. Should the hospital staff have done more to ensure Trevizo's and her newborn's safety? Could the tragedy have been avoided if the staff had acted differently once they realized she was pregnant? In many ways, this case reflects the challenges young women face in similar situations. Teenage pregnancy is often met with harsh judgment and a lack of support, which can lead to devastating outcomes. While difficult to comprehend, Trevizo's actions may have been influenced by a fear of this judgment and a lack of resources to help her navigate her situation. Vinnie Politan's investigation highlights the importance of understanding the context in which these actions occur, rather than simply focusing on the actions themselves. The case has also sparked a broader discussion about medical professionals' legal and ethical responsibilities. When a young woman arrives at a hospital in labor, unaware that she is pregnant, what is the responsibility of the hospital staff? Should they prioritize the health and safety of the mother and child, even if it means overriding the mother's wishes? These are difficult questions with no easy answers, but they are crucial to consider in this case. As the trial progresses, more information will likely come to light that could shed further light on Trevizo's actions and motivations. However, regardless of the outcome, this case will undoubtedly leave a lasting impact on the community and the broader conversation about teenage pregnancy and the criminal justice system. The story of Alexee Trevizo is tragic. Still, it is also a powerful reminder of the need for compassion, understanding, and support for young women in difficult situations. As the trial continues, it's important to remember that Alexee Trevizo's case is more than just legal arguments. It's about the pressure she might have faced. This case shows how much we need to support young women in tough situations instead of judging them. Young women like Trevizo often feel trapped, scared, and ashamed. These feelings can lead to poor decisions. We shouldn't just look at her actions alone. We need to consider what pressure she was under, like society's expectations, family issues, and the lack of help available. This case also makes us consider how doctors and nurses handle unexpected pregnancies. While lawyers argue about what Trevizo did, medical professionals must ask themselves if they did enough. Hospitals should have plans to help young women who might not know they're pregnant. They need to give these women the care and advice they need. In the end, Alexee Trevizo's story reminds us that the justice system has a tough job. It needs to hold people accountable, but also show kindness. We hope this case sparks changes as we wait to see what the court decides. Maybe it will lead to better support for young women in the future. By understanding what they go through and giving them the help they need, we might be able to stop such tragedies from happening again.